Welcome to Study Loop.
Okay, we have the following molecule, which I'll replicate here. And the question is, which functional groups are going to be present in this molecule from the list of provided functional groups. And so we have, if we just go down the list, we'll say methyl group. What does a methyl group look like? It is a CH3 group. Well, we have a CH3 group, right? So that's definitely one that we have. Let's write that down. What about carboxyl? Okay, carboxyl is carbon with a double bond to oxygen and a single bond to an oxygen, right? And then depending, it can either be a negatively charged oxygen or it could be an oxygen with a hydrogen, as in a carboxylic acid. And we definitely do contain that group right here. So we have a carboxyl, and we'll mark that down as something that we have. Yes to methyl, yes to carboxyl. Next, we have phosphate. Okay, we'll recall that phosphates include, at the very least, phosphorus atoms, of which we have 0, so there's no way that we can contain phosphate in this molecule. Next, we have carbonyl. Now, this one's a little tricky because it depends on your point of view. A carbonyl is simply a carbon that's doubly bound to oxygen, and then with no particular say as to what is bound otherwise to this carbon. But typically, it does not include carbons doubly bound to oxygen, which have oxygens attached in that way, more so because those would be more distinctly classified as carboxyls, right? So it's kind of like saying, if you've got a car, do you have a car? Yes. Do you have a vehicle? Yes, it's technically a vehicle, but if we were looking at the list and picking from it and had both car and vehicle, you'd probably say car and not vehicle. But it really depends on how the person who wrote the question programmed it. So I would say this one, there's no real way around it. You're going to have to try both, but I would say by default, I'd say no, but if that doesn't work, try it out. It's sort of not a super clear question. Okay, sulfhydryl. Okay, again, sulfhydryl requires sulfur, right? And also a hydrogen attached, but we have no sulfur anywhere in our molecule. There's no way that this can contain a sulfhydryl group. It's just not possible. Now we have hydroxyl. What is hydroxyl? Hydroxyl is an OH group. And lo and behold, OH is right here in our molecule. Typically, we would not count the OH of a carboxyl group because we consider that to be part of the carboxyl, right? It's part of a larger whole. So this is kind of similar to the question we were asking before, but in either case, we have a hydroxyl away on its own. So we don't need to worry about the potential ambiguity. We do have a hydroxyl. And finally, we say amino, and right, that's nitrogen with 3 bonds. These can be to hydrogen, they could be to carbons, they could be to carbon or hydrogen effectively, but as we note, we do have a nitrogen bound to a carbon and 2 hydrogens. That fits the bill of a nitrogen bound only to carbons and hydrogens, so we do have an amino. So in the whole list, we have methyl, we have carboxyl, we don't have phosphate. Maybe we have carbonyl, but I would say no. It depends on how they wrote the question. We don't have sulfhydryl, we do have hydroxyl, and we do have amino.